The lights were set, the cameras were prepared, and everyone anticipated another hectic day of hip-hop and love filming. However, what transpired left the cast in shock, the entire production staff in disarray, and the viewers in a state of shock. Rumor has it that a startling confrontation that became intense, personal, and unrestrained caused the filming to abruptly stop. According to insiders, Mendeecees, who is often composed and cool, lost it when his wife, Yandy, was abruptly pulled into the flames. Security reportedly braced for the worst as accusations flew, voices rose, and the room supposedly froze. Some claim that Sierra's constant shade was the ultimate spark, while others maintain that the producers themselves prepared the scene since they were aware of the tension that had been building for weeks. Whatever the truth, one thing is for sure, this was a conflict that made it difficult to distinguish between the plot and real life, not just a typical reality TV drama. Unprepared, the crew reportedly yelled for the cameras to stop as the mayhem erupted in ways that the script was unable to control. Now fans are left with the same urgent question: how did things get so out of control, and what does this portend for hip-hop and love in the future? Long before the cameras caught that explosive moment, the tension was simmering beneath the surface of polished smiles, in whispers, shade, and subtle jabs. Everyone in the cast sensed it, but nobody, not even the chaotic producers, foresaw how far it would go. The crew had anticipated sparks when they gathered that morning, but instead they were met with a firestorm that would completely halt production. Mendeecees, who is frequently characterized as composed and calculating, had developed to a degree that even his closest acquaintances had never witnessed. He had been bearing a lot of weight behind the scenes, protecting his family's reputation while coping with escalating allegations that looked unstoppable. Always composed, Yandy had maintained her composure by sharing positive updates and motivational sayings as if they didn't affect her. However, those who observed attentively saw the tiny fissures that appeared in her armor, the way her tone hardened when her name was brought up in interviews, or the way her gaze lingered on her phone when a mysterious post went viral. Sierra, however, engaged in a different game. Her reputation had been established on her refusal to back down, and this time was no exception. Leaning into the rumors, she made her own suggestive remarks on the internet, implying that the idealized family picture wasn't as perfect as it appeared. By analyzing every post, emoji, and subtle jab, fans fanned the flames and quickly transformed rumors into popular subjects. When Sierra said something about loyalty during a group dinner, the laughing and beverages abruptly gave way to stillness, escalating the tension to a breaking point. Although Yandy attempted to dismiss it, the harm had already been done. Mendeecees sat motionless, his jaw clenched, his silence more powerful than words. Social media erupted once more the following day. Sierra liked a post accusing a particular couple of pretending to be happy. Everyone understood where the finger was pointing, even though no names were spoken. In response, Yandy posted a photo of her family along with a well-written message on loyalty and love. That's where it ought to have ended, but it just fueled the fire. Producers reportedly took note of the increase in involvement and capitalized on it by purposefully writing sequences that pushed the three of them into one area. What the producers thought was good TV became a risky gamble. Tension was high by the time filming started up again. Some cast members exchanged anxious looks as the crew discussed potential security concerns in whispers. Sierra showed there grinning, as usual, seemingly unconcerned, and browsing through her phone as like nothing had harmed her. Despite her calm demeanor, the tightness in her grin revealed the tempest she was trying to contain. Mendeecees entered the room in silence, yet his presence changed everything. His protecting force prevented him from fading into the background, even if he wasn't supposed to be a major player in the conversation. Cameras rolled, the producers signaled, and the cautiously toned talk started. Sierra didn't waste any time in responding to a producer's question concerning recent tensions. As she talked about people acting for the cameras, her remarks were laced with accusations. The hush pressed down on everyone in the room as it grew colder. In a composed yet forceful response, Wendy invited Sierra to freely express her opinions. The line was crossed at that point. Leaning forward, Sierra accused Yandy of being deceptive and of playing victim while stabbing people in the back. All eyes shifted to the Mendeecees as gasps echoed through the cast. He moved, warning Sierra not to treat his wife disrespectfully in a steady, low voice. The calm guy striding into the fire, his tone so piercing it silenced the room, was a unique moment. Sierra didn't flinch, though. Rather, she chuckled and made fun of him for jumping to Yandy's support. She made a suggestion that he wouldn't be so eager to defend her if he understood everything. Just that suggestion sent shockwaves through the set, making everyone who was watching question and wonder. Yandy, S voice rose as she retaliated, accusing Sierra of attempting to destroy families in order to gain attention and pursuing influence. The argument quickly became heated, with Sierra getting up and yelling about receipts she said she had. Phones slid out under tables to record what might turn out to be viral gold. The crew stiffened, and several cast members murmured frantically. As he admonished Sierra to back down, Mendeecees slowly rose, his imposing presence filling the room. Although his statements were restrained, it was clear that he was furious. Sierra persisted in her criticism, implying that the world should be aware of Yandy's private discussions and secrets. Uncertain on whether to cut or allow the cameras to roll, the producers paused. What started out as a dramatic plot was swiftly turning into a conflict that no screenplay could handle. Trembling with rage, Yandy yelled back, accusing Sierra of lying and being envious. Her voice cracked. The cast burst into chaos, with some yelling for silence and others leaning closer, eager to see what would happen next. Security moved to the room's edges, ready to step in. However, Mendeecees refused to back down. He accused Sierra of attempting to split up families in order to get attention, his finger pointing and voice thundering. His words pierced the turmoil with their weight hanging in the air. With unwavering conviction, Sierra grinned and said something that would reverberate much beyond the set. Perhaps the truth wasn't as powerful as you believed if it destroys your family. With Yandy lunging forward and being restrained by another cast member, the atmosphere was shattered in that moment. Mendeecees surged past security as he approached, his rage directed at Sierra. Despite producers' cries to cut, the room descended into complete chaos, with crew members frantically rushing, actors yelling, and cameras recording every moment. Chairs clattered on the floor, beverages spilled, and voices clashed like thunder. It was now more than just television. It was unvarnished, hazardous, and raw. The devastation was evident when the dust eventually settled. Mendeecees were restrained by security, but Sierra remained resolute and grinned as if she had won an unseen battle. Trembling, Wendy's voice cut through the commotion, accusing Sierra of attempting to ruin her family. The fire was fanned even more when Sierra yelled back that the truth always comes out. Several cast members whispered that this was too much and that families should never be brought into the mix as they exchanged frightened looks. There was nothing the producers could do. The set was abruptly shut down because the scene was getting out of control. Lights went out, cameras stopped recording, and the well-planned turmoil devolved into something that none of them could control. The room was filled with whispers as the workers dispersed. While some believed Mendeecees had over the line, others maintained Sierra had gone too far. But there was one thing that all of them agreed on. Hip-hop and love had just witnessed a confrontation so unvarnished and unadulterated that it altered the franchise's overall vibe. Everything that had been fun had gone too far, and no one understood how to turn it back. The outside world was already in a frenzy, with fans analyzing every frame and demanding explanations as fragments leaked online in a matter of minutes. What started off as just another day of filming turned into one of the most memorable meltdowns in the history of reality TV. Backstage, there was a lot of frenzied pacing and whispering. While producers crowded in tense circles, their words clipped and sharp, security continued to linger near the exits. While some of them maintained that the sequence should never be shown, others asserted that it was the kind of dramatic climax that would propel the show into the news for weeks. As close friends attempted to comfort her, Yandy sat in a corner with her face buried in her hands and tears streaming down her cheeks. Her phone was constantly buzzing with messages from fans, co-stars, and even her kids, who had already seen shaky videos of the altercation that had leaked online. Within minutes, the breach garnered thousands of comments, with tags that read "love" and "hip-hop" shutting down following a heated argument. Sierra, on the other hand, flourished among the mayhem. As if nothing could affect her, she took out her phone and went live on Instagram, her makeup ruined from the shouting match. Her sarcastic tone mocked the notion that she had overreached. herself. She smirked into the camera and assured her followers, "I didn't even say half of what I know. I have receipts, so trust me if they want to come get me again." Thousands of people saw her live in a matter of seconds, with some applauding her courage and others criticizing her for pulling families into the muck. Fire emojis, accusations, and requests for evidence turned the comment area into a battlefield. Mendeecees was pacing outside, the storm within still causing his chest to heave. Because of the fire still burning in his eyes, security kept a safe distance from him. Friends attempted to soothe him, but he continued to repeat the same words in a low, guttural voice. "She is tarnishing my wife's reputation. I will not permit her to do it." After a while, Yandy went outside, pleading with him to stop, her voice shaking and her face damp. "I look guilty every time you fight back," she muttered, her hands gripping his arm. The storm never really left his eyes, but his features softened for a minute. He believed Sierra had done it on purpose, felt trapped, and was lured into losing control. The remaining cast members were split up. In all of her years on the program, Rashida said in a whisper to a staff member that she had never witnessed anything come to this point. Another cast member whispered that someone's career would end if this footage was aired. However, the buzz was undeniable, despite the apprehension. Online enthusiasts analyzed every second of the released video, reliving the scenes where Sierra smirked, Mendeecees stood, and Yandy cracked. Reaction channels dissected the body language frame by frame, bloggers created headlines that shouted chaos, and podcasts hurried to post emergency episodes. The situation had already gotten out of hand by the following morning. Articles titled, "Production Halts Amid Explosive Fight," and "Sierra Claims Yandy is Hiding Secrets," were posted on gossip websites. Timelines were inundated with memes from fan pages, some of which portrayed Sierra as fearless, and others that made fun of her for pursuing power. The audience was drawn further into the show by the trending hashtags such as Protect Mendeecees, Team Yandy, and Team Sierra. Across the board, public opinion was divided. Supporters of Yandy flooded her comments with love and support, adamant that her standing as a strong, devoted lady could not be damaged. Others were less understanding, questioning why, if she really had nothing to conceal, she appeared so guarded. Sierra was encouraged by her supporters. One fan wrote in a comment on her most recent post, "Drop the receipts, sis." Another person added, "Expose everyone, we're ready." Sierra doubled down after receiving more attention, sharing a mysterious selfie with the comment, "The truth always comes out." It was precisely the kind of post that stoked more conjecture and fueled ideas that she actually possessed devastating information about Yandy's life off camera. The producers convened an emergency meeting behind closed doors. As the showrunner banged his fist on the table, tension was high in the room. "We have two options," he stated acerbically. "Either air it and risk the network abandoning us, or bury it and bear the consequences for defending Yandy." While marketing experts contended that the buzz was too important to be wasted, legal advisors cautioned about lawsuits. Everyone understood that the genie was already out of the bottle, but no one wanted to make the ultimate decision. The narrative was gaining traction, the video were available online, and remaining silent would just fuel the fires. The consequences extended beyond the performance. Brands associated with both Mendeecees and Yandy were frantically phoning their managers, threatening to reevaluate their collaborations if the rumors didn't stop. Already disturbed, Yandy feared that years of meticulous image building could come undone in a single day. The murmurs threatened to destroy her brand, which was based on strength, poise, and business acumen. Mendeecees fought his own problems in private, although being quieter in public. According to pals, he felt stuck and certain that everything he did or said would be used against him. Sierra, on the other hand, loved the attention. As bloggers pleaded with her for interviews, her fan base grew rapidly. By publishing captions that read, "Lies always come to light, and I said what I said," she fueled the craze. Because of her self-assurance, people thought she actually had receipts that could ruin Tiffany's meticulously manicured image. The perception alone offered her an advantage, whether or not she did. She was the focal point of the story, not merely a supporting character for once. The psychological toll was a burden for Yandy. Insiders muttered that trolls had cruelly tagged her children in remarks, drawing them into the issue. That was the last straw. She reportedly told a pal in tears, "It's one thing to come for me, but don't even consider involving my kids." Because of her overactive protective instincts, she was less inclined to comply with the producers' games the more personal the attacks got. Some started to wonder if the show itself had gone too far, even as viewers devoured the drama like wildfire. Was it exploitation or amusement now? Had producers pushed feuds that merged into real life too far? The leaked footage felt spontaneous and real rather than like planned mayhem, which made it both dangerous and alluring. There were speculations of a spin-off while the storm raged. Producers were reportedly planning a new series around Sierra and her purported truth-telling, according to one blogger. The concept generated equal amounts of excitement and indignation. While some fans claimed it would be a must-watch show, others claimed it glorified poisonous behavior. Whether it was genuine or not, the rumor made an already tense situation even more intriguing. There was one question that persisted throughout. Who was being honest? Was Sierra lying to gain influence, or did she actually have information that may destroy Yandy's reputation? Was Mendeecees concealing something more significant, or was he just defending his family? Producers' silence merely fueled the flames and allowed rumors to run wild. In addition to stopping filming, the altercation rocked the franchise's foundation, causing fans to question whether hip-hop and love could ever bounce back from such a storm. The turmoil persisted as the days went by. Rather than subsiding, it swept through social media timelines, blogs, and podcasts like wildfire. Everywhere you looked, people were watching the released videos again and discussing who was correct and incorrect, as well as the true implications of the repercussions. Despite the producers' best efforts, the cacophony seemed to get louder every time they tried to manage the story. Executives were reportedly in a panic, not knowing how to manage a franchise that seemed like it had slipped out of their hands. Sierra, quote, live performances continued to stoke conjecture. She teased her fans with increasingly cryptic clues every time she went online. She would occasionally flash a folder on her phone to indicate that she had screenshots, or she would slyly giggle before stating that perhaps the world isn't yet ready for the truth. Fans flooded her comments with inquiries, pleading for her to share everything. The separation widened as the demand increased. Half of the audience accused her of fabricating tales to get attention, while the other half requested receipts. Her importance was further enhanced by the polarizing effect, which kept her name at the top of every headline. In contrast, Yandy attempted to adopt the opposite strategy. She stepped up her professionalism by sharing videos of her business, endeavors, motivational sayings, and well-groomed family portraits. However, her post's tone conveyed a different message. Longer, sharper, and more defensive, her captions gave the impression that she was addressing her detractors directly without actually identifying them. Fans called attention to the tiny change in the comments section. Some wrote, "Remain strong, Queen." Others asked why, if she really had nothing to conceal, she felt the need to defend herself. Every post was used as evidence in a public opinion trial, with strangers serving as the jury, and Judge Mendeecees opted for quiet. He withdrew from social media after his furious outburst was caught on camera and shared, leaving followers to speculate. While some contended that his quiet indicated he regretted the outburst, others maintained it was a calculated action aimed to shield his wife without escalating the conflict. However, in a noisy society, quiet frequently raises more questions than it does answers. What prevented him from defending himself? Were legal teams or producers stifling him? Or did he just allow his deeds to speak louder than his words? Alliances within the cast started to change. Some firmly supported Yandy, claiming that Sierra had gone too far in including family members in the drama. Others discreetly murmured that Sierra was merely expressing what many others had been thinking, but were too scared to express. Cast members accused one another of playing both sides, of feeding blog posts for clicks, and of feigning neutrality while covertly participating in the pandemonium when off-camera discussions became heated. What had been a close-knit, if disorganized community was now split apart by mistrust and suspicion. Caught in the midst, the producers attempted to take back control by changing the plot of the season. They proposed the notion of a redemption arc in which the conflict would serve as a catalyst for peacemaking. However, the actors weren't cooperating. Without guarantees that Sierra wouldn't bring up his wife again, Mendeecees wouldn't sit in the same room as her. If her kids were brought up again, Yandy threatened to go for a stroll. With her newfound confidence, Sierra chuckled at the thought of being silenced. To anyone who would listen, she said that she had no fear of producers, contracts, or attorneys. They would need to give her enough money to make it worthwhile for her to keep silent if they wanted her to do so. Fans devoured it naturally. Hour-long analyses of every smile, look, and sentence clip from the leaked video were posted by reaction channels. In order to analyze how Sierra rolled her eyes, Mendeecees leaned forward, or Yandy crossed her arms. Some even hired so-called body language experts. It was no longer merely a brawl. It had evolved into a cultural event that was analyzed like trial evidence. The implications for reality television and whether the distinctions between staged mayhem and real-life meltdowns had now been irreparably blurred were topics of constant discussion on podcasts. Then, as if the controversy wasn't enough. An enigmatic screenshot started making the rounds online. It seems to have come from an exclusive group discussion that included a number of the cast. Someone tagged Sierra's name in a post about overthrowing the empire. The hazy picture immediately generated discussion. Was it authentic? Was it altered? Did it imply that Sierra wasn't acting alone if it was genuine? Fans blamed castmates who had been unusually silent during the storm as rumors flew like wildfire. Some thought that a covert coalition was formed to expose Yandy and Mendeecees and undermine their power within the franchise. Others brushed it off as a staged diversion meant to maintain the excitement without exposing anything tangible. In keeping with her customary poise, Yandy posted a piece denouncing the screenshot as hazardous lies in response to the rumors. With words brimming with rage and fatigue, she vowed that she would never allow anyone to destroy her family. Mendeecees said nothing, and his lack of social media activity only served to heighten the rumors. Naturally, Sierra stoked the fires without verifying or refuting anything. She left her followers to fill in the blanks, tweeted cryptic laughing emoticons, and liked tweets regarding the screenshot. The network became anxious. Rumor had it that legal teams had intervened, cautioning Sierra and Mendeecees to calm down, or risk violating their contracts. Financial fines, payment suspensions, or even legal action could result from breaking a contract. For fans, the idea of hip-hop artists and love fighting it out in court was both exciting and terrifying. All of a sudden, the drama extended beyond the events that took place on site. It focused on what might occur behind closed doors, in boardrooms, and in courtrooms. Sponsors even started to falter. According to reports, companies associated with Yandy sent anxious emails out of concern that the affiliation would damage their reputation. We might have to reevaluate our collaboration if these rumors don't stop, according to one purportedly leaked email. However, Sierra discovered that she was being courted by fresh opportunities. She had turned into the face of controversy, which sells. By positioning herself as the truth teller who wasn't scared to rock the table, regardless of the repercussions, she embraced the villain role. The emotional toll kept growing. Exhausted and enraged, Yandy told friends that she felt deceived, not only by Sierra, but also by the producers who had allowed things to go out of hand. Once her rock, Mendeecees was overcome with guilt over the possibility that his explosive defense had exacerbated the situation. Despite appearing unfazed, in public, Sierra confided in close friends that the unceasing attention was too much. Yes, she desired the attention, but the severity of the backlash kept her up at night as she scrolled through comments that were a mix of hate and adulation. Could the franchise survive this? Was the straightforward but unanswerable question that hung over everyone's minds. Drama had always been the lifeblood of hip-hop and love, but this was different. This was more than just a plot point designed to boost ratings. This was frank, intimate, and really harmful. The producers had lost control of their own work, reputations were damaged, and families were drawn in. Fans were more than just amused. They were involved, analyzing every move as though their thoughts could change the result. Nevertheless, despite all the confusion, one fact could not be denied. The altercation had become the most talked about event in the show's history. It was still uncertain if it killed the franchise or took it to new heights, but its impact was undeniable. Everyone was discussing it, from podcasts about gossip to YouTube breakdowns, from living rooms to Twitter threads. The altercation had escalated beyond a mere incident. It now served as a metaphor for what occurs when reality TV goes too far and becomes uncontrollable. One thing was certain, but the scene was prepared for whatever would happen next. The dust was still not settled and would not be for some time. Instead, the mystery grew deeper with each new rumor, cryptic post, and leak, drawing fans deeper into an apparently never-ending maelstrom. The controversy that resulted from the altercation between Mendeecees, Yandy, and Sierra was more than simply a hip-hop and love story. It had transformed into a cultural phenomenon that permeated every aspect of the entertainment industry. The drama persisted even after the producers formally halted production. In actuality, it spread more the more they attempted to control it. Influencers examined all sides on TikTok, blogs produced daily updates, and podcasts devoted whole episodes to arguing over who was delivering the truth. The battle was now taking place in real time on millions of screens, not just on the set. Receipts were repeatedly demanded by supporters. Sierra persistently teased them by sharing brief, context-free quotes from talks and leaving hints about unspoken secrets in the captions. One evening, she shared a picture of a proof folder on her desk. That was enough to start a frenzy, even though she didn't open it. Her fans begged her to give up everything she had in the comments section. While some claimed she was bluffing, others thought she had the ability to ruin Yandy's well-built reputation. In any case, Sierra was getting the attention she so desperately wanted and wasn't letting it go. Tired and tense, Yandy made the decision to address her followers personally. Her eyes were tired, but her voice was serene as she went live on Instagram. She insisted that she had nothing to conceal and refuted every story. She informed the thousands in attendance that people will say anything for clout. Although critics weren't persuaded, admirers showered the comments with heartfelt and encouraging remarks, saying, "My family is strong, my marriage is strong, and no one will tear that apart." Her live stream was snipped and reposted in a matter of minutes, with comments such as "Why so defensive?" as well as "Is she concealing something?" Every action she took, no matter how sincere, was analyzed and distorted. Mendeecees continued to be a background shadow. He was incensed at being portrayed as unstable after the leaked video showed him yelling, according to those close to him. According to one insider, he's not used to being the center of a scandal. His silence left an even larger void, which admirers filled with assumptions. He feels like Sierra baited him, and he walked right into the trap. Some said that lawyers were trying to silence him, while others thought he was preparing to make his own statement at the ideal moment to take back control of the story. The network, however, had its own nightmare. Lawyers were putting in extra hours. Executives were embroiled in contentious arguments, and sponsors were threatening to withdraw. According to one leaked letter, the network was thinking of boosting security, prohibiting live phones on set, and requiring actors to have their social media posts approved by public relations teams before going live. When fans learned about the memo, they went crazy on the internet. One comment said, "It won't even feel real anymore if they start censoring everything." Others claimed it was the only way to safeguard the actors and maintain the show's viability, saying, "This show is built on rawness, you can't polish chaos." Legal action rumors increased in volume. According to blogs, Sierra was warned that if she couldn't support her charges, defamation lawsuits might result. When Mendeecees threatened another cast member on video, they hinted that he would be punished for breaking his contract. Whether it was true or not, the prospect of court cases merely fueled the flames. Fans conjectured about courtroom confrontations, picturing the mayhem erupting from the reality television realm and into real courts. The toll on emotions was evident. According to insiders, Yandy was reportedly having private breakdowns due to her anxiety that her reputation as a tough, astute businesswoman could suddenly be destroyed. Her greatest concern was her children, who were drawn into the chaos by cruel trolls who were tagging them on the internet. She allegedly told a buddy, "It's one thing to come for me." Though protective, Mendeecees struggled with remorse, knowing that his strong resistance only served to reinforce the idea that something was amiss. "But dragging my children is crossing a line I can't forgive." And Sierra secretly acknowledged to close allies that she was overcome by the intensity of it, all despite her assured appearance. But each time she considered giving up, she recalled the spike in her following the interviews that were pouring into her inbox, and the opportunity to finally come out of the shadows. But the crowd weren't slowing down. Frame by frame, YouTube, experts examined every second of the leaked video. Another viral breakdown focused on Sierra's smirk as evidence that she had planned everything, while another highlighted the precise moment that Yandy's composure broke. Rumor sites erupted with thoughts about what Yandy might be concealing, while podcasts argued about whether producers were guilty of taking the rivalry too far. Even people who don't often watch reality TV dramas were drawn in by the chaos of the controversy and couldn't help themselves. Then there were rumors of a spin-off. According to entertainment bloggers, the network was secretly thinking about giving Sierra her own show that would focus on her job as the truth teller. Outraged, some fans accused the network of encouraging poisonous conduct. Others predicted that it will be a must-watch show. The rumor further strengthened the feeling that the drama had grown beyond the scope of the franchise. The producer said nothing at all, neither confirming nor denying anything. Fans had to fill in the blanks as a result of the quiet, which allowed rumors to run amok. By keeping the video for a later season or reunion, several people thought they were planning a huge comeback. Others saw it as evidence that things had gotten out of hand and that the network was truly uncertain about its ability to withstand the fallout.